Howdy. So today is October 8th, 2022, and I am on the Oregon coast, just south of Cannon Beach, and exactly 650 miles from the center of the Monterey node. And have I got a story to tell? So I did a measurement here at 2 o'clock, exactly 2 o'clock, and it was 650 miles from the node core. And I waited a little while. I was actually feeling a little burned out, so I had a little something to eat and figured that, the line was going to go on ahead of me, and I would, catch up to it, because when the day started, I was expecting it to go on into Washington, which it has, just north of the Portland area, but this corner of the state extends a little further north, so we're about 25 miles from Astoria, where I'm standing, and so eventually, probably around 3, I started heading that way, heading north, and I was just so sure that it was going to keep going today. Today was the projected end of the harmony period, when all the ley lines are vibrating at the same frequency and they break up in a matter of minutes, like about 20 minutes or so. At least that's what I've been told by Rory. So anyway, so I start driving up, and if you've been following my journeys at all over the past few months, you may have heard that I had some car trouble, and especially when I was on the Cape this summer and getting to the Cape, and I've been, I've developed some workarounds so that I haven't had hardly anything wrong with the car since getting back on the West Coast. And what ended up happening is, as I was descending, I was about 4 miles away from here, down this long grade between Cannon Beach and Seaside on the other side. There's kind of a cape between the two. The engine cut out, and I let it roll for a little bit, and then this long stretch opened up on the side of the road where I could pull over. So I pulled over, stopped, and did my workaround and stuff, but it wouldn't, for some reason the van wouldn't start. And I was expecting the next place to do my measurement would be Astoria, and right on the Columbia River and the border between Washington and Oregon. And something said to check while I was waiting, and I checked, and sure enough, I was out of the energy, right? So I waited, expecting it to pass by me, and I thought it was kind of weird because, at that point it was 3:30. So between noon and 2 o'clock, the edge had moved 25 miles. So I was expecting it to move, when I measured it at 2 o'clock, another 25 miles to Astoria from here. But apparently it hadn't moved at all. And so I waited, and it didn't pass me, and it became apparent after about 15 minutes that it wasn't coming. And it gets weirder from there. So what that means is that the harmony period has officially ended. I feel what the harmony period is when all the ley lines are vibrating at the same frequency. And what that means is that the lines that are generated by the Earth itself, the lines that are generated by the cosmic radiation coming from the sun, they all slow down to match the frequency, the vibratory frequency of the Emperor Dragon lines, which, or the majority of them, their vibratory frequency is about 48 hours. So they move 24 hours in one direction, then 24 hours in the other direction. It's an undulation. Hence the serpent or the dragon, right? The undulation, right? So, make a long story short, where I had pulled over was where the line ended movement. How about that? And the fact that the place exactly where I was, had pulled over was between the bands that are on the edge of the node itself. So, eventually, the van started, but not until I'd figured out what was going on. So in other words, the van cut out right at the edge of, right where the line had stopped, because I didn't know at the time. I just knew that had already passed it. So when it started up, I turned around and I've become very adept at driving with my knees. So when I get on a straightaway, I can check with the dowsing rods. And the road was pretty straight right there. So as I turned around, right after I turned around, I pulled out the dowsing rods and I checked. And within a couple hundred yards, the lines were back in the energy. So I turned around again and went back and confirmed that the van had cut out right at the edge, where the edge had stopped movement. So, and that point was 654 miles from the center of the Monterey node. So what this means is that the diameter of the node, and most likely all of the nodes that the Emperor Dragons go through right now, is over 1,300 miles wide. The what do you call it? The whole swath, the combined, both nodes and the space in between them. The space in between them, I've measured, at most accurately I've been able to measure it is about 44 miles. So we always add that on to the thing. So we're looking at nearly almost 1,400 miles. And yeah, so there's that. That's what's new. Also, the reason why I thought it was going to keep moving today until this evening and cover the distance that I thought it was going to cover is because last night I had kind of a revelation as I looked at all the numbers and data points that I collected yesterday and the day before, and all week actually. I saw a pattern, and to make a long and not get too deep in the weeds, I'm going to post after I go through my notes. I'm going to post them, and people can take a look for themselves. Yesterday, I can probably look. I must have done about nearly 10 measurements from starting at 9 o'clock in the morning until at least 9 o'clock last night, and the northern edge expanded 101 miles. That means the whole swath expanded 202 miles. And then this morning, overnight, it only moved 2 miles. But then, it started moving, and there was one period, like I said, between noon and 2 o'clock where it moved 25 miles, So, pretty exciting stuff. What this means is that this line, goes from here to Virginia, and where we are here in Northern Oregon, which is really close to, what is it, the 45th parallel? All the way across the country. Everything that's south of that 45th parallel is most likely within the energy right now. It's not within the nodes, but these nodes extend, 650 miles east of Bishop, California? I say Bishop because it's not far from the Quixote node, the third major node in California. And most of the area, all of California and most of Oregon, down into Mexico, are covered in 3 layers of nodes. The 3 nodes that are in California overlap most of the state. So that's kind of exciting. Remember, these, it may seem like not a big deal, but the nature of this energy, when it was only 50 paces wide 3 years ago when I started this survey in 2019, this energy was the sort of thing where you would have to make a pilgrimage to a node to experience this energy. And now it's like you can experience 3 nodes at once, wherever you are. You don't need to do anything special except my cartoon, don't be a dick. You don't have to do anything special, but don't be a dick. But not be a dick. The way to take advantage of this energy is empathy, compassion, gratitude, and trance, self-induced trance states. Okay. Cool. So I want to emphasize the trance states. When I say trance states, sure, you can use substances, you can use your breath, you can use something as you could driving, reading books, watching television. All of those things, make your dominant brainwave pattern, the theta, optimal meditative state. But the best trance state, and the one that every soul on this planet is capable of and spends a fair amount of their time in every day, aside from sleep, is daydreaming. When you're daydreaming, your dominant brainwave pattern is theta, which means that your brain is, the dominant brainwave pattern is vibrating between 6 and 8 vibrations per second, which is in a harmonic with the base frequency of the earth at 7.83 hertz or vibrations per second, and the ambient sound of the universe, which is 7.23 centimeters, right? So but when you're daydreaming, your eyes are open, and So you're not going to fall asleep, because if your brainwave pattern, your dominant brainwave pattern drops below 6 vibrations per second, then you'll go unconscious, which is really good to know. And that your breath rate regulates your brainwave pattern. So if you breathe 7 breaths per minute, your brainwave pattern goes to theta. If you breathe 5 breaths per minute, you'll go unconscious, right? Anything below 6 breaths per minute will bring you to unconsciousness. So if you're having a hard time going to sleep at night, bring your breath rate below 6 breaths per minute. Slow your breath rate down. So the key to conscious daydreaming is to become conscious. When you become conscious of the fact that you're daydreaming, stay there. And to make the best use of it, I would recommend that you then start asking questions. Whatever it is that you want to know of life, the universe, and everything, go ahead and ask your question while you're in that mild trance state, self-induced trance state. And this is the way to access what's known as the Akashic Record, the entire history of the universe, past, present, and future. I feel that what this is, we are witnessing in real time the acceleration of consciousness on the planet, the acceleration of the conscious potential of human beings on this planet right now. So I think it's a fair guess that all 6 Emperor Dragon pairs around that circle the planet are expanded as much as this one, and expanding as much as this one is. And that means that there are now 6 bands of, or what I call swaths, of Emperor Dragon energy emanating from the core of the planet that are over 1,400 miles wide, or almost 1,400 miles wide, circling the globe. And that it'll be like that for the next 3 months until the December Solstice, when probably most likely within 3 to 5 days before the solstice. It was 5 days at the last solstice. It was 2 days before this last equinox. This expansion will begin again. So it fooled me, because I thought the numbers, as you'll see, the numbers were accelerating all week long. They've been accelerating into this pattern that was once it reached 50 miles a day, it kept going 50 miles more, adding 50 miles more each day, the expansion of the whole swath. So yesterday it was 202 miles, the day before it was 153 miles, the day before it was 98 miles, the day before that it was, I think, 60 miles or 59 miles, something like that. So that's what I saw last night. And I won't get into there's some really friggin' amazing, the numbers reveal something that is really cool, but it's what they call inside baseball. So I'll spare the number geekage. I'll spare you the number geekitude, geekism, right? But suffice to say that I personally, last night, in looking at these numbers, I got this, kind of like moment of revelation about, and it's been something that's been kind of tapping me on the shoulder, just kind of whispering through this whole journey the past month or so, doing the survey, and that is that all of this is about number, and reveals number. To make sense of it, you have to look at the numbers, right, to see the patterns. And once you see the pattern, you're basically looking at a creation code. And it's not often that you can look at what's happening and see a creation code. But it's obvious that there is creative intelligence behind what is happening. Because you just, as they say in the parlance, you can't make this shit up. You know, it's just, there's just too much. It's too detailed, you know, to dream this stuff up. So that's the good news. I personally am very burned out after a month of being on this mission, and I'm welcoming the time from here. I actually have to get back to LA for my next PET scan on the 17th, and my oncologist and ENT doctor on the 21st. So I'll be in LA for about a week, and then hoping to make it back down to Torrey to fly some more. And if I'm lucky, I might get a flight somewhere along the coast before I get there. And maybe some hot springs. And I'm kind of ebullient right now to bear witness to the unfolding of this great mystery. A week ago, where are we? Today's Saturday. Yeah, a week ago was Max and Cheyenne's wedding. And it was a wonderful experience, and I was watching it, but in the back of my mind, that something was saying, you know, you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if you choose after the wedding to drive north and reacquire the northern edge as it moves from California to Oregon, and follow it. And when the wedding was over, I was like, I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna fly on Sunday, which I did. It was wonderful. I spent 2 hours in the sky, and then I left that night and started driving like a crazy person. And I caught up with it 24 hours later, about 17 miles northwest of Mount Shasta. And there's one other thing I want to mention. I broached the idea, the notion, because it's been on my, you know, it's pretty obvious that there's too much coincidence happening in the places that I've stopped and chose to do measurements and whatnot, for me not to consider the possibility that I was influencing the study and the survey. But I've been reminded several times that over the past 2 years, I've observed, you know, in terms of the effects of being exposed to this energy. Like I would spend several, you know, at least a week or so at the nodes in Big Sur and Monterey at the solstices and equinoxes, and I would, for days and sometimes weeks afterwards, I would have this experience where I just realized like I was on time, and people would say to me, "I can't believe you just showed up. That it's perfect timing, right?" And so what I realize now is I wasn't influencing anything. I certainly wasn't influencing the numbers, but I was experiencing what I call synchronics, and the synchronization and alignment with the energy itself. And I mean, the fact that the car died right where the line died, you know, it's just like, I couldn't have, and I didn't know at the time that the line was even there. I hadn't even measured. You know, I mean, it's just woo, 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 you know, it's just so crazy. Anyway, oh, you got to check out this. Look, check this out. This is beautiful. Yeah. So, this is what's up. Heading back to LA. Try to stop moving my hand so much. This is so beautiful. And here, another thing is all day, from when I got up this morning, it's been marine layer. And as soon as I realized that the thing, that the northern edge had stopped moving, had stopped expanding, was when the sun broke through. It's like the universe, the orchestration is just magnificent, just magnificent. So anyway, that's what's up. Please direct message me if you have questions or answers or conjectures or whatever. I'll do my best to answer. And yeah, my mind is just bursting right now with like, wow. So thanks to everyone that has been contributing to this survey, both in terms of moral support and attention, and certainly the folks that have donated gas money, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without that. And I certainly wouldn't be able to get back to LA without a little help at this point. So thank you very much. And so we're going to do our little So what I'm doing when I do that is I'm connecting with the source of all that is, and trying to project it into the camera. So there, take that. And remember, we love you.